All right, welcome to another episode of the New Labor Movement Show. We got a full house this week. I'm one of your hosts, Troy.
I'm Ray.
I'm David.
Ian. There you go.
All right, this is another week to go over local law, labor, and politics. This week we would like to focus on, because we're getting so close to the primary elections, it has been much more difficult of a task than we had originally thought in order to try to get a hold on where some of these candidates stand as far as their voting patterns and what they're going to be moving for going forward. So we wanted to focus, as we try to get that together, on another part of something coming up for the elections, which has been a topic of discussion in some of our social media groups, which is mail-in voting.
I have no issue with absentee ballots. Mass mail-in ballots, I believe, are a recipe for disaster.
Can you tell me what's the difference between the absentee ballots and these mass mail ballots?
In most states, what happens is you have to fill out an application that says, I'm unable to vote in person. You mail in something, they verify your information, they send you a ballot back, you fill it out, then you send it back.
What's the difference between that and what they're trying to do now?
What they did in California, and what they want to do now is they basically go down anyone who's a registered voter, they just send something out to that address and that person's name.
All right, but it still goes to...
No, it's a ballot. It's not an application.
All right.
It's a ballot, which means I move away, someone's at that house, they can take that ballot, write, oh, sure, I want to be this one, that one, and mail it back. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they can.
Okay, so your problem is not with the process. Your problem is just with California then.
No, overall, no one has really defined to me what mail-in, everyone says mail-in, and then they try to say mail-in ballots, and they try to lump in what California did and what absentee ballots did. Like they tried calling President Trump, that evil person, a hypocrite because he mails in his ballot, but he does it absentee. He doesn't just, a ballot doesn't show up at his house and he mails it back in.
But even you just said that you don't know how they plan on doing it. So how can you say you are against something and you don't know how they plan on doing it?
Well, because I know how they did in California. I know how they want to do it in New York.
How they want to do it in New York is not they're going to send everybody a ballot.
You call in and say, I can't make it. Send me out something.
You have to go and fill out an application. Somebody doing that for the primary.
Absentee, not mail-in. Two different things.
Say it again.
Absentee and mail-in ballots are different. There is a distinct difference. They're trying to make it as it's the same thing.
So long as they send out an application to them, then you don't have no problem.
I would have no issue if there's a form of verification, meaning at some point, if I'm not going to vote in person, I have to show you a form of ID, then yes.
There's no form of ID sent by mail. They don't even do that with the absentee ballot that you're talking about.
Some states make you write down a license number or an official we have non-drivers IDs here.
Is Florida one of those states?
And they can verify that.
Is Florida one of those states?
Yes.
You're fine with, as long as they mail your application and you mail them back, then that's fine.
And you have to prove in some form who you are.
What will be the proof? What will be the proof? If you're mailing something to my house and I have to receive it at my address to send it back to you, is that not proof?
No. What if you live in in an apartment building?
And somebody goes and steals all the mail from the building and sends back everybody's mail.
Is it possible? Yes or no?
It's possible for me to go to everybody's house at their mailbox and steal it from their homes as well.
Again, which a mailman was convicted of in Alabama.
Now, did he go and steal from people's mailbox, or he was getting people to give them the mail?
What happened was in other words, in a lot of states like where we live, you could do like where you go put in your mailbox the mail you want returned. He was harvesting those votes, and he just basically said,
Me personally, I do not trust anything going on the mail.
Mm-hmm.
I rather
Thank you.
There you go. You got support. You got support.
I rather be there in person where I put my name on it and I verify everything in front of whoever I have to verify and I do my voting and that's that. Anything going through the mail in these days is just a recipe for disaster. It's just waiting for you. Anything can get lost.
Yeah, but
So
you're
now-
forgetting one disaster. You're forgetting that there's a pandemic. We still had a pandemic. People in
There you go.
Wisconsin did their own primary, and people got sick from that.
Yeah. So,
So,
now the question is,
if
okay, you
more
would
people
like
are
to
out
go
there-
to the voting
If
booth.
you-
Sorry, Ian. Go ahead.
Started Home Depot wait in line to vote.
No, more people are going to be out voting. So more people are possibly going to get sick. Aren't we supposed to try and not let that happen? So if we get more people out to vote, what's going to happen?
Can you socially distance and could you have people wear masks? Would that be a mitigating
They
factor?
did that in Wisconsin, and people still got sick.
Well, people, again, I would like it to be an absentee ballot where if you could say to me, like right now, there are no laws in any states except California where he did it by executive order, where the threat of illness is a reason to get an absentee ballot. If you are sick in most states, you can say like, I have cancer, or I have a serious illness, I'm going to be away. Laws would have to be written or executive to make that. Cuomo wants to make it in this state where if you could just say, you know what, I don't want to go out because of the pandemic, and that would be a valid reason for you to get something.
That is
Why
a
wouldn't
valid
it be?
reason.
Why
though.
wouldn't it be?
That is a valid reason.
Why wouldn't it be a valid reason?
Well, in other words, I guess
Listen,
I personally want everyone to make the assumption because, first of all, if you're under the age of 60 and have no comorbidities, the survival rate's like 99.5.
You're talking about the survival rate. So you're saying basically, listen, I don't think you have that much of a risk. So I feel you should be good enough to go out. So go do it. That's BS. It's BS.
everything. All of these ballots, for example, are going to be addressed to people going to their houses and whatever. Now, everything is going to be identified as mail as a ballot, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that means what makes you think that all of those ballots, once they start going into the post office, can't get lost?
Lost.
They absolutely can get lost.
Lost.
They absolutely can get lost. But this is the question. So you say, no, I'm not going to do it because it's a possibility that a bunch of these ballots can get lost. So now the pandemic comes and you have people in fear of, if I go out to the polls to vote, I'm going to get sick and die. So nobody goes out to vote. So what is your option then?
Okay, but how is it? What I'm trying to get to throughout this whole entire pandemic, and listen, I'm not trying to water it down. All right, I'm not trying to say that it's not happening. It is happening. I mean, the numbers are there. The data is there. Over 100,000 people have passed away, and may they rest in peace. But what I'm trying to say is, how is it okay, all right, for all of these big lines on these major chain stores, Home Depot, Walmart, how is it okay for everybody to go and stand on a line to go to all of these stores, and then it's not okay for you to stand on a line to exercise something that's in the Constitution?
Okay, but then this is the thing. You just have to look at a baseline for what was done already. So you look like a store at Home Depot or the stores. I'm going to it now. I go to the supermarket.
Mhm.
They'll have, say, 35 people in the store, and the rest of the people have to stand outside and wait in a line around the block.
Okay.
You're talking about going to a store like Home Depot or the supermarket. Can you imagine now millions of people going out to vote, how that would take place?
So
Right now, we have it on a regular basis without a pandemic, where the laws have been so skewed or the voter suppression is put in place so much that they have millions of people that have to go to
voter suppression. Stop.
voter suppression. Stop what? Stop what?
So you
Let me finish. Let me finish before we get into the other part of the BS. But go ahead.
So you
So you have it now where millions of people in one city have to go to condensed to one polling place to vote before the pandemic, and they're waiting for morning for hours after the thing just to try to get them to vote. And you're
Average
gonna
is
tell me
3
you're not gonna
hours.
be able to
So,
social
listen,
distance?
I have a solution. I have a solution for that. Open
Yeah.
up more polling places.
That
Open up more polling places. That's it.
That's
So-
one. Or they could easily think about this. Most of these states already have early voting or late voting. You could each one of these states could extend or make early. Say, listen, because of the pandemic, you're only supposed to vote Tuesday. We're going to open up the polls for 5 or 6 or 3 or 4 days. If your name is between A and L, A and C, you go Monday. And that way you would have, instead of having the whole state go
Same way you did same way you did with unemployment. All right. These days,
What did they do unemployment? They didn't open no more places.
No. Let me. With
Had
certain
they-
days,
hold on.
A, C, and B, A, B, and C would go on these days. D, E, and F would go on this other day. There you go. Problem solved. Let's
Yes.
move on.
Yes, but they were
Everybody
going
gets
from
voted.
home on their phones.
Everybody gets.
I don't care if you open it for a month. How long have we been out right now with this pandemic and people told us to stay home? 2 months. So you're gonna tell me what? If people don't want to go out because they feel they're gonna get sick, they're gonna stay out for 2 months of voting?
So you're willing to risk. You're willing to risk hundreds of thousands of votes to get lost on the mail. Picture that.
I'm willing to risk it because yes, for the last 20 years, 20 states are already doing this all the time. So you're telling me something that
Wrong.
we've already been doing, is already been working for 20 years, all of a sudden
Four
it's going to
states.
miraculously break
Four.
down all the way.
4 states do it. 4 states do it full. Every state has absentee ballots. Only 4 states do it all by mail-in. And I've sent you like 7 stories where it takes them a decade to get it right because
Okay, listen. It took them a decade to get it right.
not all.
Perfect.
I'm speaking specifically about Washington State.
Okay, say Washington State. It took them 10 years to refine and get everything working to a workable system. My point is, if there's already a system in place in somebody, not a different country, our state has shown where the flaws are to do it. Of course, it won't take us the same amount of time to get the same
Right.
system up and running.
Right. But the thing is you can't condense 10 years and like 4 election cycles into a half of election cycle. You're not even giving
But
the
no,
people a full
this is
year.
the thing. You absolutely can. I'm saying, like, and this is the point I made
I don't
before
know,
when
how
I
can you
said,
absolutely can?
if you have to build a bridge, the first time we built the bridge, how long do you think it took? Do you think it was hard or not?
I can concede that, but there's only
Wait,
so
wait.
far-
Let me just finish the point. You think it was hard
Go
or not?
ahead, and then I will counter. Go ahead.
So now the second time we built that same bridge, because we've already built it and we know the blueprint, do you think it was easier to build that bridge and we did it faster or not?
I think it was easier.
Okay. So then why would it be any different? Why would you say, okay, it took us this much in this state to, we already
I'll
worked out the
tell you what.
kinks.
The first time you do a stress test on something new, you do it on an off year, and you build from there.
Yeah, but there is no room to do it on the off year. You think because the pandemic came, they could say, well, we never able to increase the bed capacity and make our own masks, and we never did that before. So we'll just wait and do it 2 years from now. No, the pandemic is now. We have to act now. The pandemic is this year. The voting is going to be effective this year.
Right.
We don't have the chance to act then.
If someone comes tomorrow and tells you, I have a vaccine, I want you I want to administer it into you, would you do it?
No.
No. So you want more testing, right?
Right.
Because more testing, that means you're going to get good at it.
Right.
Okay. Same
Now,
process with this.
if somebody comes and they tell me, Troy, you're about to die. I have a vaccine and you can go test it. Am I going to take it? Hell yes.
Yeah, but you just
Please add the context to that.
You just changed the schematics. You just
No,
changed
it's
the
just-
schematics.
number one, somebody just creating a new vaccine and they're going to have to try it on me and I'm going to use it. Somebody says, we have a vaccine and it worked over here, but they had to get the kinks out and we think it works now and we're going to try it on you, but we have to make more. Well, we're not going to make more because we don't know if we can get enough people to make the same thing we already made. I'm
No.
gonna say, what the are you talking about?
No.
Nigga, you already have the
No.
vaccine. You know how to make it. Get
Listen,
enough
I'm
people
not-
to start
I'm
making the same
not-
vaccine.
Just,
And those
just
people,
to be-
I'm not gonna care if they make mistakes
Listen.
in the process where they're doing it. If it's the choice of either them probably making a mistake with more mass production, or me just not getting the vaccine and dying.
Listen, I'm not, just to get it straight, I'm not against this whole entire voting like this. I'm not against it. What I am saying is the system is not able and not capable at this point right now to handle mass. That's it.
I agree. We have
That's
6
it.
months to get it there.
Let
It
me
comes
ask you
down to
this.
fear.
What,
It
all right,
comes
I'll
down
do
to the
this.
fear,
What
guys.
What happens if we get to
Wait,
month 5?
Ian, what you
we
were
get to
saying?
month 5 and they realize, holy shit, we're nowhere near close. Then what?
Then what we would do is fall back on what we were already going to do. What you do, telling people that either you have to make a choice between go
Right
vote
now,
and
they're
take
looking
your
to
chance and go vote,
defund.
or don't vote at all. What would
Right
be the
now, they're
difference?
looking to defund the post office. The post office doesn't even know if they're going to have a budget to even work.
Yeah.
These are the things that we are dealing with.
Okay.
Right now, the post office doesn't even know if they're going to have a job tomorrow. Okay,
Right.
this is reality. Right
Let me
now,
one question.
we're in the process of getting a new post general, whatever they call them. Okay, right now, the post office doesn't. They need to. They would need to handle and hire more people, which is not going to happen. So you're telling me that they want more. They're gonna want to do more with the 10 people they have.
Not that they're going to want to do more. It's what you have to do. You saying like same thing. They want to shut down the post office right now, right? Do you want to see the post office shut down?
No,
Then I don't understand what's your point. So
I
right now,
don't
what
want to
they
see it. I don't want to see it. But they need to fix it. That's what I want to see. They need to fix their shit. If you can't, if right now you're having problems delivering a package to my house and you're lying on that piece of paper saying that you came and left it in front of my front door, what makes you think they won't lie when delivering a piece of paper?
What you saying, Dave? For the bad situation, whatever's going on with the mail at your house, for the other millions.
But it's not
of
only
people-
me. This
for
is
other-
just me venting. I'm the
for
only
the
one
other
venting
millions
anymore.
of
But
people
you
that
know how
get
many
their
millions
mail
of
delivered
people
on
are
the post
going through
office.
the same crap with the post office? It's happening. It's just that I'm the only one that's venting right now. But this is going all around the country.
But let me see what this is the thing. What's also been going around the country is the same thing we already talking about. This is not nothing new that hasn't been done. This vote by mail is not a new venture. They already do this. So
That's
if the same
fine.
thing
I
we're
understand
talking about
that,
what's
Troy.
happening, why haven't millions of people for over the past 20 years complained about mass loss of their mail, mass loss of their votes not getting counted? Why we already have something to base this on to look at. Why hasn't that happened?
There was. In other words, in all those places, if you go to Google them, Washington, Utah, Oregon, all of them had major stories of how things happen in the process of getting it better.
Troy, but you imagine now opening this floodgate, okay? Now you have to, with this same people, now you have to
Why
handle.
with the same people? There
No,
you go
it
right
won't
there.
be the
With
same people.
They're
You
not
need
Why
willing
would
to
I do that with the same people?
Because
Why?
they're not willing to compromise. They're not gonna hire
And that's
more
what
people.
we're talking about. We're
They
talking
wanna
about
do- They
that's
want
what
to
we're
do
talking
more
about. Willing
work.
to compromise. It's not that they're willing to do. If you're not willing to do it, that's what we're talking about. Why
They
are
wanna
not
do more
willing
work.
to do what's needed to be done?
They want to do
That's
more
what we're talking
work.
about.
They want you to do more work with the same amount of people.
Who said that? We're not talking. We're talking about increasing for the mail-in voting. Nobody said that they want them to do the same work. They're saying we're gonna not do it or do it because there's fraud involved or there's loss. It's nothing to saying that we can't handle the capacity or we can't scale up. Their only attribute for trying to say they're not going to do it is because there's going to be fraud, which is a fallacy. What you said with the new technology, that's the thing. We're not trying to build a new technology to make it better. I just need them to do the same thing they're doing now
with
and
more
just do it
people.
on to more people at the same time to be able to vote. And that's it. It's you're mixing two different stories because I don't want them to reinvent the wheel. I want them to use the wheel they're already using.
And they're not asking that. They're not asking you to deliver the same amount of people to deliver more mail. If it's more mail, they're gonna have to add more personnel to deliver those mail. Period.
Now, do you really think they're gonna hire more people?
They're gonna have to.
If
If there's
they
more
have to,
volume,
but
they're
they're
gonna have
not.
to.
I cannot rely on somebody that doesn't have the capability.
That they don't have the capability. That's what I'm saying. In your opinion, the post office has been working for years. They deliver to millions of people every day.
Yeah.
So you say they don't have the capability? My opinion, they have the capability. The 20 years that they've been doing it already, especially with specifically mail-in ballot, and it hasn't been this mass problem you're talking about, is a proven fact to me that they have the capability. If you're
Listen,
gonna tell me they don't have the capability, you have to give me more than just anecdotal
I
evidence of the one situation happening in your area.
believe things will get lost.
Yes, I'm saying that's what it is. It all comes down to what people believe, what they feel. I feel things are going to get lost. I feel there's going to be fraud, but no evidence to actually point towards that happening. But I have evidence to point towards the other side, but then that gets disregarded for, and it is what it boils down to most time, people's feelings.
My
If the
message,
pandemic gets bad during the election,
my
and people
message
are
for
not
everyone.
allowed to go out to vote, then you don't have that option. Now, which one was worse? The possibility of the mail getting lost, like you're saying, or the fact that people will not be able to go out and vote?
My message to everyone is get up and make your vote be counted.
While I agree with you in most, I think that this is someplace we can get to eventually with a lot of
Listen,
whatever.
I know why you don't want to get there eventually right now. And I know that's the point where most people won't get it. And it's not because people are saying wait and let it happen, because I have no problem with it happening. I just don't want it to affect this election.
Yeah,
And people are like,
because
yeah, let it happen in 2024.
No.
That's fine. Let it happen in 2024. I don't want it to affect this election.
listen, I have no problem if Donald Trump loses a fair
Wait,
election.
nobody's talking about Donald Trump. Nobody was talking about that.
I want a fair election. And
There's
a fair
nothing that you can point to that says that this won't be fair. That if anything, if you can point to not being fair, having something like a pandemic where people are not allowed to go out, or people will not go out to vote because they have to make the choice
Now
between
that-
choosing to vote or choosing to get sick and die.
Yeah,
that is not fair.
For me, that is a personal choice. You have people in many other countries, dude. You have people who line up in Iraq with the Taliban pointing guns at them, and they vote. And you're trying to tell me you can't sit there with a mask on? Dude, come on.
Come on, what? You gonna tell somebody that they have to do that? And this is the thing. They go out and they do that and they vote with the mask on and risk getting shot. What is their other alternative? You gonna tell me if they have another alternative, they wouldn't take it? They want to go out and be waiting inside with guns pointed at them?
Ray.
I'm not anyone to do anything. You make a choice based on your situation.
That's not my situation. I want to go vote. I want to go vote in person. But it's not just about me. That's the problem. It's not just about me. That's the thing that I'll say so many people can't understand is what I can do and what you should do. It's not just about me. It's about what are the person who doesn't want to. What about the person who can't? It's not just thinking about myself.
Ray, you see how you just have the fear that there's gonna be something fraudulent that happens, or votes are gonna get lost, or mailings are gonna get lost. People still have that fear that they're gonna get sick and die. So you say that, okay, fine, put on a mask and go. But still there's a fear there. Just as how you have a fear that that's going to get lost.
Right. And we have to find a way to manage the fear.
How are you going to manage someone? The way to manage someone's fear is to give them an option to not have to do it. There's no reason for you not to give them that option.
Same way everybody's going out there to do what they got to do. I think you could find a way to go and exercise your vote.
You can, but it's a bunch of people that don't want to. Because I can guarantee you, for all those people that are at Home Depot, there's a bunch of people who want to do the same thing, who are too afraid to do so.
That's
so
fine.
What about them?
For the people that can't, I'm not saying that.
It's not if you can't. It's not only if you can't. You can't tell me that if I'm able-bodied and I can walk and go do it, I have to go do it because you're not afraid to do it. You don't have that right to do that. You don't have to tell me. You don't have the right to tell me I can't be afraid to go do it.
Oh,
you don't have that right.
I have no right to tell anyone to do whatever they.
So what you tell me if I'm able-bodied?
What I am saying is,
it's my responsibility.
What I'm saying is, Me as a person, as a person that's going to be voting, I'm going to make sure that my vote counts, and I
Yes,
will be on that line.
Exactly what you said, Dave. I. It's not always
No.
about I. What about the people who don't feel the way you do,
if
and they
nobody-
want to
if-
vote just as bad as you want to vote?
But then you're going to get the people that are freaking lazy, okay? Lazy.
Dave,
And we got many of those that lazy, that stay home, and they rather not do nothing.
Dave, you adding people into it as a large problem, and you're taking anecdotal evidence like people are lazy. How many people are lazy that don't want to vote? How many are lazy compared to how many people want to vote but are scared? How many? What's the number?
Do you know the number?
People are lazy.
Nobody knows the number. So why would you tell me? Why would you tell me that these are these lazy people that you're making up in order to say, okay?
I'm making up.
You're making
you
up
have
the number. How
communities,
many
you have
people are lazy?
states
You're gonna tell me
where
all the people?
you have states that are 10 million people, and states that are able to vote, and they don't. Those 10 million don't go and vote.
And
So
they're
what
not
are they
going to vote
doing? They're
now.
home.
And they're not
They're
going to
home
vote
with their
now. But what about the other millions that do vote?
PlayStation, playing and doing all instead of going to vote? Get up and vote.
What about the people that do go vote and now they don't, and now they can't? I'm not talking, the people that don't vote are not going to go vote regardless. What about the people that do go vote and now they can't because they're scared?
That's fine. I understand that. Now, I'm not trying to say no. What I'm saying is that if you can and you're not scared, get up and vote.
Okay,
Get off your lazy
Check
ass.
mark, agreed.
Get off your lazy ass and get up and vote.
Check mark, agreed. Now you have that. They're going to do it. What about the people who want to vote now but I can't? Or even worse, what if the pandemic gets worse and they tell you you can't go to vote? Or you have to, or the pandemic gets worse and the risk is worse, and they tell you the risk is worse, but we don't have any other options, so now you have to go do it this way. What about them? You already checked off the people that's going to go do it and want to. What about the rest?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
I
That's
can do the
why
same-
it should be an option.
What if?
That's why the option needs to be there. The option needs to be there. If you feel that fear of not going out, you can mail in your ballot. If
Or
you're
if you don't
proud
feel the
and you're
fear and this
happy
gets
and
worse
you
when
want
you
to be
can't.
there and you feel the need to get there and vote in person, you should have that option too.
So let me ask you
Both
something.
options
So
should be
this process has been in motion for a long time. If this process has been in motion for a long time, why people at this point they still haven't done it?
I can tell you why.
If
I'm
they have
one
the
of
option-
those people.
enthusiastic about
I'll tell you
voting.
why. I'm one of these people. I would rather go vote in person. That's why. I would rather go vote in person.
Listen, one way or another, whether it's on email, whether it's on ballot, whether it's on walking there, whether you gotta crawl, whatever the case, get up and vote. Whether exercise, whichever way you want to exercise it, whether it's absentee, whether it's whatever the case, make sure you vote. Simple as that.
All right, so it looked like we lost Ray. That one got a little more heated than we could handle. So I guess that's it for this week's show. This is the New Labor Movement. I'm one of your hosts, Troy, along with my co-hosts this week.
David?
And Ian.
All right, so once again, this is the New Labor Movement show. Until next week, signing off.